Hey guys, so what is wholesaling? Well, today I'm going to explain what exactly wholesaling is, and I'm going to provide an example of a wholesale deal for you. Now, at the end of this video, you can determine if this is something you actually want to pursue. Now, I've been wholesaling for about 4 years now. I love it. It's great. However, it's not for everybody. So let's go ahead and jump into the video, and you can see if this is something you actually want to pursue. Now, guys, it's very important to understand the basics. I see a lot of new wholesalers not understanding the basic principles of wholesaling, so they start off on the wrong foot. What do I mean by that? I mean, we are finding off-market properties. These are properties that are not listed on the MLS with a realtor or listed on Zillow. And we're actually entering in an agreement with that homeowner to buy that property. Now, our agreement actually gives us the ability to find a cash buyer and essentially send the deal to them. Now, we're not closing on the deal with our own money, but the language in our contract with the homeowner actually gives us the ability to send this deal to somebody else. And by doing that, we get paid an assignment fee. You can look at it like a referral fee. However, I'll never call it a referral fee. A wholesaler would never call it that because it's a lot more than just referring a deal. We do way more than that. But you can look at it like that, and we find a cash buyer that pays us at closing for the property. So we're using the cash buyer's funds to close the deal up. Now let's go over some basic terms. Off-market property. What is that? Now this is a house that is not listed with a real estate agent or broker. So let's look and see what an example would be. So if we type in 123 Main Street on Zillow and we see this red dot here, we cannot wholesale that deal. It is very, very, very important that you understand this. It may seem simple, but if you're looking in the wrong direction, you're going to fail out the gate. I've seen so many wholesalers go to appointments with real estate agents looking to wholesale the deal. You can't do that because you're trying to enter an agreement with the homeowner. And if the homeowner is already in an agreement with a real estate agent or broker, then we can't wholesale that deal. Now, what's a cash buyer? Now, when I first started, I had no idea what a cash buyer was, but I heard that you needed them. Now, a cash buyer is none other than a person that just buys houses for cash to either flip, what we call rehab, or hold onto as rentals. Now, what they do is they take a house like this, a very depressing looking house, and then they turn it into something like this. At the end of that renovation, they may look at it and say, hey, I really like this location. I'm going to hold on to this property as a rental. But I would say most times, most of your cash buyers will go out and they'll just list the property and sell it and make their profit. That's what most people consider flipping. In the investment world, we call it rehabbing. Now, what is an assignment fee? Now, guys, an assignment fee is none other than compensation that you, the wholesaler, receives for providing the deal to the cash buyer. You're the one going out and finding the depressing, sad-looking house right here. And you actually get paid at closing for your services. Now, let me show you an example so this all makes sense for you. Now, we have a seller here. Let's call him Bob Smith. Bob Smith, the seller. And he has that sad house. Well, you as a wholesaler reach out to Bob Smith and say, hey, I like this house. I want to buy it. Now, what happens at that point is that you and Bob will agree on a price. So let's just call that price $50,000. You say, hey, Bob, I love this house. I want to buy it for $50,000. Now, what happens at that point is that we say, okay, Bob, I'm going to buy this property. Sign this purchase and sales agreement. And the purchase and sales agreement, I usually put it out for 30 to 45 days where I can close. Now, during that period, that actually gives us the ability to shop the deal around. If you have a great deal, you usually will find a buyer within a week or two. So we'll go out and we'll find a buyer and we'll say, hey, Mr. Buyer, I know you bought a house in this neighborhood last year. or last week or last month, and I know you like this neighborhood. Now I have a property here and I will allow you to buy it for $60,000. So he says, yes, I'll take that property for $60,000. Now at this point, what happens is you actually sign another agreement with the buyer, and this is your assignment agreement. And it actually has $10,000 on it. So what happens is that he agrees to assume the $50,000 contract. And he's essentially agreeing to take over the contract in exchange for $10,000. He said, yes, I'll take that property and I agree to buy it for $50,000. And I'll pay you, wholesaler, $10,000 for bringing me this deal. So he pays a total of $60,000 at closing. Now, what happens is we find an attorney or title company, depending on your state. I know a lot of states in the Southeast, where I'm located here in South Carolina, are attorney states. Some states like Florida, California, Texas are title states. Only thing you need to know is that you need either an attorney or title company to close a deal. Every state, bottom line. Now, once you have all your paperwork, you just give it to your attorney. And in a couple of days or weeks, depending on how quickly they move, you get paid. Simple as that, guys. It's as simple as that. Now, let's look at our example here. Bob the seller will make $50,000. You, the wholesaler, make $10,000. Now, how much does our buyer make? Trick question there. He doesn't make anything because he's buying the property and he's paying you. So he's coming out of pocket at this closing for $60,000. That's it, guys. That's an example of a wholesale deal. Now, I know you have some burning questions. I can hear you asking these questions, and I get asked them several times by people that just want to know about wholesaling or people that are new. Even people that have been doing this a while, they still ask these questions or have these in the back of their mind. So let's go over them. The number one question I get asked is this legal? Guys, you need an attorney or a title company to close these deals. Now, will an attorney risk his law practice if he's practicing illegal law for a wholesaler? Now, I know some wholesalers that are doing major volume, like 300 to 400 deals a quarter, and they use 1 to 2 title companies or attorneys over and over again. Usually when wholesalers get in trouble, it's because they are representing themselves as a realtor or they're doing something questionable or shady, which I would discuss in a future video. Now, is this ethical? Am I ripping people off? I can't tell you how many times I get people that just come to me that have no idea about wholesaling, and I explain to them what I'm doing, and they think I'm ripping people off. And even new wholesalers may think that they're ripping people off. They say, man, why would somebody sell their house for 50 cents on a dollar? Well, guys, it's the situation. So the situation determines the motivation. Let me give you an example. A lady's dying of cancer, and this is a real example, real deal that I worked. A lady's dying of cancer. She lives up north in Boston. Her house is in Charleston, South Carolina. She doesn't care at all about that house. Only thing she wants to do is live out the rest of her days with her family up in Boston. She bought that house 30, 40 years ago. She didn't want her heirs dealing with it either. So price wasn't even an issue. She just wanted to get rid of the house. Most times, you as a wholesaler would care more about the property than the homeowner. You're not ripping people off. These people are in situations where they don't really care about the house or about the price that they're getting. Now, I will state this, you are not taking advantage of people's misfortune. I will reiterate that. You are not taking advantage of people's misfortune. These are people in situations that may not be able to sell with a realtor or may not want to. Now, the price ranges where we are buying properties at will probably be significantly less than where most real estate agents and brokers are operating in. Now think, $50,000 for a house. That's a lot of work for a 3% commission, where a real estate agent will make $1,500. They can just go out and find a $300,000 house with less issues and make $9,000. Now, we as a wholesaler, we thrive in this particular price range, and we're needed. We're not servicing 100% of the home sellers out there. There's only about 5 to 10% of the home sellers that we are working with. So just keep that in mind. So why would someone sell their house for so cheap? Like I said in the previous question, it's the situation. So if somebody just needs to sell, they don't care about it, there's usually some sort of repairs to it that they can't handle, the house is falling apart, it may be a fire damaged house. They'll let it go for cheaply. And we look at another man's trash as treasure. So as a wholesaler, we may look at a boarded up property and see dollar signs. To the seller, they may not necessarily see that. So why doesn't the seller just sell it themselves? Because they are in situations where they can't. They just can't. If somebody is bedridden or somebody is dying of cancer, they don't even want to deal with it. They don't want a realtor responding to them every single moment of the day to send somebody in the house. They just don't want to deal with them themselves. They just want to unload the property and move on with their life. Now, do you have to be a real estate agent to wholesale? No, you don't. And now what I've seen is a lot of new wholesalers think they have to be validated for some reason. They think they need a real estate agent's license in order to explain to homeowners that they are legitimate. I've never understood that. But you don't need a real estate agent's license. If you want to get one, you can, but you don't need one. And I view it actually as a hindrance. And there's going to be some, I wouldn't say contradiction. There's just going to be some unnecessary overlap between the two. And I can explain this in a future video as well. Just let me know, guys. But guys, that is an overview of what real estate wholesaling is. Now, I'm going to be dropping some more videos on how to get started wholesaling with the least amount of money possible. And I really believe in starting lean, meaning taking as little money as possible and getting the most money out of your campaigns. I'm huge into marketing, and I'll be explaining in some future videos how to get your marketing going for the least amount of money. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. Look forward to dropping some more videos for you guys. Thanks.